He's on a mission today to boost your development experience with UI5 tooling extensions, including offline and consuming NPM packages, and more. So go ahead.
I will go ahead, yeah. Thank you, Anna, for that. So welcome everybody here now in that session. So who of you was in the session of Marian? Just a little hand raise, so a lot of them. So I will try to give it a different spin a little bit to explain also what is behind this tooling extension, because Marian already started in his session to explain a lot of them. And we didn't sync up front yet on that what he showed. So, but it's not a redundant part. So I will really also give you hopefully an introduction to tooling that you see also how you get started using the tools. Using the UI5 tooling, the tooling extensions, and to bring the piece together to help you to get really to a very efficient development environment for yourself. Because for me, and I think also for you, there is nothing more important than having something really efficient locally where you can develop without, let's say, any problems. The UI5 ecosystem showcase is one of the repositories we started, in the meantime, really 6 years back. To demonstrate the easiness of extending the UI5 tooling with own middlewares, tasks, and in the meantime there's also other stuff inside, like something for Karma to do the coverage stuff, even if it's deprecated, and maybe people of you would ask what happens with Karma. So at the moment we have no answer on that yet, but there will be an answer hopefully soon. But stay tuned, and as long as we don't say something about Karma, keep it as given, it's still there, and we keep supporting it. But the UI5 ecosystem showcase, it became really the home of all these extensions, and as you have seen in the session of Marian, in the meantime there are 52 contributors to that repository. So it's really a massive support, not only from me, also from guys from the community, to really bring this repository to something which is a great source for finding tooling extensions. And yeah, as I said, something like a CDS plugin or this Karma stuff, this is in the meantime also in, but I don't want to give a spin to CDS and CAP today. So we are at the UI5 con, so let's look a little bit deeper into the ecosystem. So basically, this ecosystem comes with custom tasks, custom middlewares, and so-called tooling extension, which combines the tasks and the middlewares. If you look into them, it's quite massive what is in there. So it's not just a little bit. You have a lot of different tasks to help you to build your application, but you also have a lot of middlewares which help you to improve your local development experience on that. And there is the other stuff around, the CDS plugin, app router, Karma preprocessors, Express.js utilities, showcases, where you can also take a look how to maybe use or build an app, put a library next to it, combine it, but I also show that in a second, how that looks like. And there is even more, best of UI5.js. That's the place where you can look up even across this repository to find more tasks, more tooling extensions for your local development. Today I want to focus a little bit on these I highlight here. So these tooling extensions, I think that's my favorites because I use them very frequently. And I think they are really a great help. For sure, I could also give a spin maybe in the app router to connect to the BTP platform or something like that. But anyhow, I think that's not so important. So for that, let's look more in this local UI5 perspective, not to the backends. So my favorites. The first favorite I have, just to mention here for completeness, is the UI5. Every one of you should know the generator. It's not part of the ecosystem, but as I use it also very often to kickstart my local development, you should also know that. It's the thing where you have different templates for starting app development, library development, TypeScript applications and TypeScript library development, and much more inside. And if you want, you can even contribute to the UI5 community to come up with your own template and make that part of the UI5 community GitHub organization, that it shows up here in the ECUI5 as well, because that was also one essential thing what we did in the past, to extend the ECUI5 to make it a community generator. But now, who of you used the live reload already? I think all of you should use it, or? When you have a local development, most of the projects today, if they start, they have the live reload already in the templates. And therefore, I think most of you have touched this already. It's at the end, if you save something, it takes care that you reload the app immediately and you don't need to press F5, it just happens out of the box. And I show you also one thing what you can do with that. Let's take a quick look in my VS Code. So I created with easy UI5, just to show everyone here, a UI5 con app up front. And this is just a bare metal UI5 app. And when you look into that, it immediately has the live reload configured. In the meantime, also the code coverage part for the UI5 tooling. So you also notice that everything which has an add UI5 in its name, this is most often coming from the UI5 team. So the guys from the tooling, they provide that for you. And everything which has not a add, the scope here in front, this is a community tooling extension. So if I now start this project, so it also runs out of the box, and most of you have most probably done that already. So I just used the easy UI5 to scaffold me this new app. And in this app, I can then just run npm start. Let's do one thing because I was in the wrong repository. Packages, UI5 con fxp. Con app, npm install, npm start. So, and now it should come up. So this is the boilerplate application, what I get when I just create my application from scratch. So, and now if I do a change somewhere in that project, let's go to the view and maybe we change the title of the illustration to something like XXX or so, then I save and it immediately refreshes. I don't need to do anything. So the live reload is really a handy, nice tool, a tooling extension, a middleware which takes care that you get a really nice development experience when you work locally. The next important part, what I want to show, is a simple proxy. So if you need to consume something from any destination, you need to have a connection to a backend or to a system you want to proxy. And then this simple proxy is the easiest thing you can use. Just to go back, put it full screen, I install it quickly, UI5 middleware simple proxy as a dev dependency. And then once installed, in the package.json, I can see the dev dependency. And one thing I would like to also show you is when you hover over that in VS Code, you get a link to the documentation for that. And because at the moment, we always need to maintain this middleware configuration, the UI5 YAML, to make these tooling extensions available, that's the place where you can check how this configuration looks like, grab it. Let's take it just up to here. And then we put it here as the first middleware in the row. So first means last middleware in the row, because the processing here is, it registers top down, but everything happens, is added after middleware compression. So it will be also stacked then reverse into the stack here for the middlewares, and so this will be the last middleware to be processed. So the one which is top with the after middleware thing comes last. So let's put something like versions inside, because what I want to do now, instead of OData, I want to consume the version JSON information from UI5 and display that in a list. So this is something you have on the cloud as a version information. And it gives you just the info, what is there, deployed and available. And now I want to proxy that. So I put this without the version JSON in the base URL. And then I can use this /versions in my application to consume the versions. So a very easy thing now is to put that in a JSON model. So let's go into the UI5 models here. Default model, type, sub UI model JSON JSON model. And then we use the URI, which goes to /version.json. So this is my local URL. And if I didn't do anything wrong, I should be able now to consume it and to just show it how it looks like. I have 20 minutes. I should have asked for more. Versions. So here it is, it's proxied. And now if I start my application, it should be also loaded here. And now I should be able to also create a list. Let me just see the network. So the version JSON is loaded. And now let's grab from the demo kit the list source code, because I'm lazy now. I just copy and paste it into my main view. And we get rid of this illustrated message. Oh, is it only so hot for me, or is it also for you so hot? It's just the time pressure which makes me sweating like that. There it is here. It's version and support which you want to display. Support versions. But maybe I need to speed up in a different way. So here we have it. The versions are not displayed because I need to map against / items. Did I do something wrong? Otherwise, I switch to my prepared example because the pressure here now is hard. Expected int, the counter, yeah, it should be the description. Yeah, maybe it's because of the live coding, which makes me sweat like that. But at the end, here the versions are. So, what I also want to show is then, if it comes to a bigger setup, like what we have seen at Marian, it's not only about proxying now resources. So what we also want to do is more or less to connect, for example, also a library, which I built for my local development for having some reuse of controls. And I have created also with ECUI5 a library here next to the UI5 Con app. And then I have also set up a monorepo. So the structure of the monorepo typically looks like that in the root you have a package JSON. And if you use npm workspaces or pnpm, you have this workspaces configuration here available. And this maps now all packages which are in this nested folder into that workspace. So that every of these projects can know each other and you can connect them. Let me just go in the root of the project, because if you have the workspace, you do that npm command in the root. And what I want to do now is I just do a connection of the UI5 Con app and of the library. Because this library, this by default comes up with an example control, and I want to embed that now. So if I'm working in a workspace, I can address one of these projects in the workspace with the npm-w if I use npm workspaces. Then I say which app with a name, devxp UI5 Con app. So this is pure node knowledge now. And I install now a dependency to the devxp lib, which should be a real dependency, not a dev dependency. That's essential. And now in my library, in my application, I have now a dev dependency to this library, which is next to it. And this is already sufficient now for the UI5 tooling, so there is no extension necessary to connect to that. And what I want to show you quickly on that now is how you make use of these controls in there now. So you need to register the namespace with the XMLNS, my control or my lib, let's call it lib. And then the name of the namespace of the library, devxp lib. And then next to the list, I put lib:example, which is the name of the control in the library. If I do that, it should come up. Was there an issue? I should scroll up. Live reload doesn't scroll up. That's something to know. But then here we see that's now my control being created. And if I now add a text here, let's say UI5 con, then this text is being displayed here. So it scrolls also down. Maybe we disable that list for the moment to not get disturbed by that, since it keeps somehow the scroll state. So now I have it here. But what is now also essential for your dev experience is that the live reload has also now a knowledge about the connected libraries. And if we now go into the library, and here this example control is, let's modify the renderer to, instead of this dash, what we see here, use a colon. If I save that now, it's also getting updated because this is connected. And this is also really important for you because you can now really seamlessly work in your workspace and update the library, you get it refreshed and so on. So that's also one of the pieces to know. One other thing Marian mentioned is Surf Framework. With Surf Framework, if we install that now to this project, npm-w, let's go here. And we install UI5 middleware Surf Framework as a dev dependency. Then I'm able to have a locally built UI5, like it would be in CDN. And you can consume it with a local URLs, like this resources URL, so that it feels like you run your application against a built version of UI5, a productive version of UI5, but locally. And this is also nice for offline scenarios. When you are somewhere without a network connection, you have the CDN more or less with you. So in order to consume that, just go here. Let's go to the package.json because, again, I try to be lazy and benefit from this documentation here. Let's just copy these parts here. This is all I need to put in my UI5 YAML to benefit from the Surf framework. Let's start that again. And now, you saw already it starts up much faster. But why does it start up much faster? Because if I look into the libraries, when it's loaded, it's now loading, I hope you can see that, maybe I increase the size a little bit, it's now loading the library preloads instead of the individual development files. So you already have now locally the same experience like if you have a productive application when loading the UI5 parts from CDN. Still live reload, yeah. But the live reload for these productive things, this is not necessary because the local applications and the local libraries, they are still development mode. But for sure, that's also something maybe to work on, that we can also do that on the fly to have some kind of productive thing as well available for that. One other thing which is quite interesting is Surf Static. Surf Static allows you to connect or to include local stuff. Maybe for that, instead of doing that now live, I switch to the prepared application because I have already prepared a few things here in. Let's use the app. So in this, I played through all that. And you see there is already a lot of middlewares and tasks and already included here. And I just want to use it to spare a little bit of time for that. Because with a Surf Static, what you can do now is in the UI5 YAML, we can define, let's go here, a local path, that's the wrong one, a local path to resource. Like I can mount /docs to something locally on my hard disk, which is this docs folder I have here. Here it is. And what I wanted to do with that is I wanted to make it possible that we can now display that using a third party. And in order to consume third party, you had in the past the option to use shimming and stuff like that, which was a bit complicated because of all that configuration. And therefore, I decided a while back to also work a little bit in the direction of making this more seamless. And with that, there was one idea that serve static can also come up to serve npm packages content just out of the box. I just want to show that quickly. And let me disable in that view a few things. I think half an hour or 20 minutes was ambitious. I could talk longer. So let's start that thing. So this is the prepared application. But for sure, everything is also on GitHub later on. You can also take a look into GitHub and check it out there. So, but I need to do one thing. This one we need to remove so far. Because what I did here is now I used marked.js, a third-party component on OSS, to do the formatting of these docs. So this docs is loaded now from locally. So that's what happens with this serve static. So I mapped that and made the file available here now. I fetch it and I give it to a markdown parser. For that I created a little control to do all that. So this control, this is very bare metal. So it's just a control extending, having a content property as a string, and then the render function. I'm just using the unsafe HTML operation to render the HTML generated by marked.js, and marked.js is just converting markdown to HTML. And that's what I used, and in order to load it, I loaded it simply like that, marked/marked.min. And this is more or less, as I use npm package path for that and set marked, it just checks in my node module for that folder. Where is it? lm marked. And then I have this mark.min file inside, and I just made that available. So looking into the UI5 YAML, you can see that now. Here, npm package path, marked, and then this maps this to the node modules. And then I can, with that, access this marked min.js, and for UI5, when you load that, you can load it, but without the .js, and then it loads it, it makes the include script, and then it's there. But here, I have to use it via the global name. And that's something we come back a little bit later to make that even better. Because I want to show you one thing more before we do that. The UI5 middleware UI5. So this is really something nice and handy, where you can have now, if you had the problem in the past to connect to other components or other applications, then now in this workspace, if you have an application and you want to connect other applications or components inside as nested components, you can make use of that. You need to just add in your project a dependency to another component or library. So let's look into this dev XP app. So it has this UI5 YAML dependency to UI5 middleware UI5. It's configuration free, don't need to do anything. And it looks into the package JSON for dependencies. So here in this case, I installed devxp-comp as a dev dependency for that because it's a dev tooling only. And therefore, this is a dev dependency. And with that, and I start my project, I see that it says at some place UI5 middleware UI5, mounting resources devxp-comp to this devxp-comp application. So it finds it automatically from dependencies, creates this mapping. And why does it work so great? Because UI5, if you load it locally, all resources are resolved locally against your sub-UI core.js loaded resources SAP UI core.js. Everything is located and loaded relative to that. So if I load now a dependency to devxp-comp component, then it goes to resources devxp-comp component. And this UI5 middleware UI5 puts all these projects in the right namespace so that it seamlessly is available for you without having resource routes configured. And when doing that, I thought, hey, it would be nice to now showcase as well the component-based routing. So I did extend the manifest JSON here of this project to have a routing to comp, and this is the component-based routing, so I can say type component and it should route to the usage devxp component. If you look up to the component usage section, I configured here the devxp component and that's it. So that's all what you need to do to get that running, and then I have, let's see, a button in my view I say here nav2 comp. So this nav2, by the way, it works because all the templates we have in the UI5, ECUI5 generator, they come with a base controller having already some base methods. So you can call that directly from the XML view and just give the name of the route. And this simplifies because routing now is something what you can do declaratively. And coming back to that, not a new tab, reload it. We have go to library, that was my example when navigate to another view, having this example control inside, but you can also say now go to component. And this, I can also say go back. And this is now the same like if you go to resources, devxp/lib. So this is also here available, not lib, comp, sorry. It's also, the complete application is available and it's nested, integrated in this whole UI5 tooling, this routing. The time is over. I need to be faster because I want to show a few more things. Tooling transpile and tooling modules. Maybe you give me that one. The zipper we can skip because I think the zipper you all know.
You did one and then we skip the questions and you go hunt Peter down.
Yeah, you can also come to me with the questions later on in the experts corner. So I will be there around 4 till 5, half or a quarter after 5 or so. And then you can also come up with all your questions because I think it's really important to get that and to understand all that. The tooling transpile is also a very nice dependency, and most of you have used it just for TypeScript. But it's not only just for TypeScript. It's at the end, it's integrating Babel transpiling in your build and in your local development. And here in this devxp app, I made one thing because I want to also show that to you. I made a new markdown viewer. And you see, it's not written in the classic UI5 syntax. So it uses classes. I hope, oh, the color is always bad. You should have said that to me that the color is so. So let's do it like that. It's maybe a bit better. Thank you. And here in this export, so I'm using the class syntax now to define a control and this namespace. So this is also a little bit a similar thing like what we do for the TypeScript part, but now we use it just for JavaScript. And thanks to this UI5 tooling transpile, we can also seamlessly do that now. Because it brings behind the scenes, behind the hood here, this Babel plugin transpile modules UI5 with it. And with that, we can also use this new syntax to write the controls, even in JavaScript. You don't need to do TypeScript for that. And then just consume it as before. So I can just put the markdown viewer, the other one aside. Let's put that down and go back to the app. I hope you can follow me. Now I made a typo somewhere. Ah, no, because one thing I missed. Same ID? No, same ID is not the case. Let's just show it on that way. Resources, devxp app. And then we go, not devxp app, so it was the control /new MD viewer. So what it happened at the end, it makes a UI5 AMD like module out of that, it converts it into the control and so on, and it does it. And one last thing before, because what I also want to show you is this UI5 tooling modules. Seamlessly consuming third-party dependencies is really essential. So also just here, put the UI5 tooling modules inside, makes it possible for you that you can then, in UI5, just write a dependency to a third-party package, like this marked min.js, for example. And here, if I now do that, maybe we do it like that. It would trigger a request to this marked.min.js, and this is now not transpiled. So this is the classic way of doing that because I didn't restart that one. So what I do now is, yeah, keep seated. I'm soon done. It wasn't a UI5 YAML. I need to disable this serve static because it's overlaid my tooling modules. But now let's see what happens now. So I refresh this one, and this was the original. If I reload it now, what happens now is it becomes a UI5 AMD-like module. And with that, you are now able to just require that and use it. If I now go back to this markdown file, where is it? The MD viewer. You have seen that I removed before, for the old scenario, I removed this and used it from the global scope, but now this is getting really a UI5 dependency. I get the mark then here available and can use that injected. And you can do that for many of these plugins. And just to show and prove that one, because here it now comes up. So this one used this mark.js also that way, and here this is this hello world, this new MD viewer based on the this ES class syntax. And now let's enable as a last thing the other viewer as well side by side. We have the hello documentation, we have this one, and you bring all the pieces together. And with that, I next time ask for more time. Have a look into the repository here. The repository is here. I will publish it. It's private at the moment. You get that, and I try to share it also on Twitter, this screen, and then you can also check that out and play a bit around. It has a full showcase for all that what I showed, and you can slightly play with that then.
So this was Peter on fire to boost your development experience. Thank you.